Now, the last one that I want to show you is an old woodsman's button, frontier kind of thing, and it's made out of a piece of leather. I've got a piece of rawhide here, and if you don't have rawhide where you live or you don't have access to any, the easiest way to get this is to go to your local Walmart or your local pet store and get yourself a piece of rawhide. They wrap the rawhide up, and this is a dog chew for our pets. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that rawhide onto my block, and I want to make a long tapered cut, something like this, on this rawhide. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just to score a long thin line on the rawhide, and I guess on the top end I'm going to have this about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and it's going to be about, I don't know, what is that, 7-8 inches long, and it's going to come down to a tapered point. Now we're just going to take that rawhide that we have, and we're going to go ahead and roll it up into a tight little ball. And what we want to do is to roll it about that far. A little bit more. Okay? Now we're going to take and put our knife through the rawhide, and we're going to just work it back and forth until we get all the way through. And that shouldn't take but about a minute or two. We're just rocking this back and forth until we see the knife come out the bottom end. There it is. So let's go in a little bit more. And there's our knife coming through the bottom end. Now you want to be careful that you don't allow this to unroll as you're doing this. Now what I'm going to do is, in that slice that I just made, I'm just going to put a stick through there for a minute, and that stick will keep that so it doesn't close up on me, so I don't lose it. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to taper this last piece off about the same width as my button there, as the hole that's in there. Taper that off, and then I'll just cut off those little flaps. Now again, this is rawhide. I've been soaking this overnight, and so what's going to happen is when I'm finished with this button, I'm going to actually allow this to harden, and maybe I'll show it to you on another video when it's hardened. This will turn as hard as a rock because it's rawhide. Okay, so we're going to put that right there, cut that off. Now, what we're going to do is to take this flap that's left over, and we're going to put through this stick, through the piece that's there already. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and work it a little bit. Again, you don't want this to unroll when you're doing this. You want to be real careful. If it unrolls, you get to start all over unless you can line it up perfect. So I'm going to stick this in here, right like that. And then I'm going to push it through. And we're going to try and get that till it goes all the way through to the other side. It's unrolled on me actually, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get this or not. We're trying real hard here to get it through, but it actually unrolled as we were filming. Now what I've done is just taken a little piece of a boot hook, and I'll show you what that is in a second, and shoved in here, and I've wrapped that leather around it, and I'll pull it out. There we go. And pull it right out just like that. And this is a boot hook. If you all ever wonder what that thing's on your knife for, I have no idea. But it sure did a good job pulling that leather through there. We just stuck it through those holes wrapped that leather around it and pulled it back down through the hole. Now, that's it. You're pretty well done. We're going to trim this up just a hair here. Make it kind of pretty. What I don't want to do is to take any length off of this, because that's how you're going to actually attach it to your clothing. Alright, what I've done is just cut up another piece of that rawhide so that I could show you how this would attach to your clothes. It's a really neat little system. I'm going to take my knife back out here, and I'm going to cut 3 slits. 1, 2, and then a 3rd slit sideways through the rawhide. So now I've got 3 slits. You can see 1 here, 2 here, and the 3rd is sideways. And here's how we feed that through and how the button self-attaches. We'll put the rawhide through this piece and back through this piece. Now this is the top end of our material where the button would be. Let's see if I can get it through that little hole there. Just like that. And then we're going to simply put it through the 3rd hole. And we come out on the back of the material. Now, being that this is rawhide, when it dries it's going to get very hard and very stiff. So it will make a very, very nice setup that will dry and not come loose again. And I'm going to take a screwdriver here and pull this up. Now what I'm doing is I'm just pulling this up until the button is tight on front. And then I'm going to put that little flap through there. And I'm going to pull it. Pull it a little bit more so I can get it through that. I may have cut this just a hair short. It probably could have been a wee bit longer. But I'm going to set that through until it comes through on the other side. And then I'm going to grab that. Because I cut this short, I'm probably going to have to grab it with my tool man. And we're going to pull that through until it's nice and tight. And there you go. 1 button attached. Wash it up, make it look pretty. 1 button attached to a piece of material. And again, when this comes and hardens up, this isn't going to come off. In fact, it won't come off right now. What will happen is if you tried to pull this off, it would just simply tighten up in the back. If I tried to pull this, it would tighten around this piece, and so it's a self-locking button. There you go. So we have 3 buttons, 1 made out of leather, 1 made out of antler or horn, and 1 made out of a piece of wood. So there's a way that you can repair your clothes out in the bush if you have an emergency situation, and if you need to be able to form buttons or things that would clasp together. You could use this on packs, you could use it on clothing, you could use it on baskets that you make out in the bush. This is David Wendell with Bushcraft on Fire. We thank you for your support and thank you for joining us today for this video. We hope you've enjoyed it and that you'll come back for another video real soon. Have a great day.